7 years since I've started this podcast in 2016. I've always done like a year-end wrap-up episode. It's called the MVPs of the year, which is 2018, 19, or like last year, 2020, where we discuss our favorite people in the calendar year for sports, entertainment, the culture, social heroes, whoever fits that criteria. We like to acknowledge those people, and we do it every year. I usually have my co-pilot for that episode, Sean Adonis, riding with me, and the process of doing it's a lot of fun. It's one of the few consistent annual episodes that I do every year, and honestly, this year, I just haven't been feeling it. I haven't felt the need to really celebrate everyone. This has been one of the craziest years that we've had in a long time, even crazier than last year, or the same for some people. I think the accumulation of the last 2 years, especially living in certain areas, have weighed heavily on a lot of people. Mainly the shitstorm that COVID has caused across the world, from the virus, the lockdowns, the vaccine conversations, the restrictions, the mandates, the loss of employment, the loss of businesses, the isolation from family and loved ones, and the loss of loved ones. It's been a hard year for a lot of people, a hard time. I think at this point last year, living in Toronto, we were right in the middle of a widespread lockdown, and winter was wintering, and it just became cold, or it felt cold and depressing. And I think that's why we really do have to look out for one another, because the mental health suffering has been, and it continues to be major. I started looking at 2021, trying to be positive, wondering how the year was going to turn out. And then I went to 4 different virtual funerals to start the year off. Family, friends, ex-teammates, and a friend of mine who passed away that I literally was speaking with not even a week before. All of this was heartbreaking. And I just kept hearing different people passing away, and it just felt ominous because, again, COVID. You couldn't grieve in the ways that you would have been accustomed to. You couldn't properly pay your respects. You couldn't, or you can't spend time with the families or the loved ones. It sucks. Like, you just have to sit there with that. And it really sucks during this COVID era, but you try to do your best to persevere while dealing with the grief. So remember when I did an episode a couple of months ago about mental health? Well, this episode, or this was supposed to be an extension to that. So I want you to file that for a second. Let me take you back to late spring. The weather was getting warmer. I know for myself, I wanted to do everything and go everywhere with my family and amongst my friends. I, like a lot of people, just wanted to be free. And I just wanted to spend time exploring, pushing myself, to different limits, just living life. And then June started off for me just finding out that one of my uncles passed away. And it was, it was a gut punch. You were just shocked. I really felt it for my cousins. And of course, I couldn't properly grieve, due to restrictions. And then 2 days later, a friend of my family lost his son. So again, same feelings, just another gut punch, just shock. Like, you're actually wondering, like, what the hell is actually going on right now? You don't even know what to think while all of this is happening, And then about 4 days later, on my mom's birthday, I'm laying on my couch about to get up to go visit that same family friend to show my respect and love for them during that trying time. And then I get a call that one of my good friends, one of my ride or dies from university, my friend Nigel, had also passed away. Everything, and I mean everything, stopped cold completely. Like, I was in utter shock. And honestly, man, that one was just too much. And a big reason was that we both kept saying that, we got to hook up and we got to check each other out. And life, living in the big city has a way of just making you too busy, and the week before I literally, and I'm not kidding, I literally told my wife that I got to give him a call so that we can meet up. And I never had a chance to call him. Man, that literally broke me. That one was just too close to home. And that guilt of not reaching out in time, man, that literally consumed me. I started suffering from anxiety attacks. I couldn't sleep straight for about a month. And it woke up all of my worst fears and demons that I had. Like, I really wasn't expecting that to happen. I wasn't prepared to go through any of it. And if I'm being honest, it still rears its ugly head every now and again, especially when I start thinking about some of the good times that we had, you know, especially when we were in university, like the constant jokes, the arguments about music, our repeated pilgrimage to the York Student Center during our off days. If you know, you know. Discussions about faith and his faith. He was about a year younger than me, but he taught me a lot during that period. I met some good people through him, including his twin brother, Dexter. And he was a really good guy, man. We had a lot of things in common. And like me, he knew so many people. And they all had love for him and his brother. It was crazy. But I can honestly tell you that, you know, going through this and rewinding the year over and over in my mind, I started revisiting everything in my life. And it really set off a period of self-reflection. You know, none of us are perfect. But in a lot of ways, I really started trying to work on my weaknesses, my limitations, my faults. I really started the process of just studying myself in all facets of life and just really looking in the mirror and really studying who I was. I'm goal oriented. I'm a big believer in dreams, being positive and going out of your way to accomplish them, as well as achieving the things that truly make you happy. You know, and if you're on my webpage or on my Instagram, I want you to take a good look at this picture, because this brother right here, Nigel, he reinforced a lot of that for me. The amount of conversations we had about what he wanted to do when we were in those lecture halls, you know, talking about his goals and dreams, what he wanted out of it. And even with life throwing you those curveballs like it does for all of us, for the most part, he really lived that. Like, he was doing what he loved. And he was looking to achieve more of those goals that he set out to do. You know, one of my last conversations I had with him, we were discussing a project that I was actually going to be a part of with him. Now, remember what I told you to file about that mental health episode? So everything I said in that episode with my guest, Jonathan Boxill, I really meant that. And I hope listening to that episode helps some people go through their own shit. I had a lot of feedback from people saying as much, and I'm truly grateful for that. But just like you did, I needed that conversation. That one was for me too. When I said I wanted this to be the extension of that, it really is true. But it took me about almost 2 months to start formulating what I wanted to say. And in a lot of ways, it was still way too hard for me to do. But through this process, it's reinforced some beliefs that I had for myself and where I'm headed in my life, and which also goes to my family, goes without saying. It reconnected and strengthened some friendships and relationships in my life. The friends that I've met up with outdoors every week, they know who they are, and they have no idea how much therapy that was for me during this summer. For me, in the spirit of rolling with the positive, among many things, as much pain as this year has brought, I want to use those lessons in this journey as fuel to propel me forward, and how to overcome and still achieve and activate your happiness in life. In a lot of ways, this year is going to stay with me forever. But I know for myself, I just wanted to clear the air and just get this off my chest. I didn't want 2021 to pass without me doing this right now. And just letting you know what's been on my mind the last few months. But also, I want to reiterate again, to find the things that make you happy, your family happy, and get to it now. This is not a resolution. All right? This is not a resolution. Fight for your happiness, your goals and your dreams, and more importantly, your peace of mind, especially since there are still people going through it. Your life doesn't deserve to live in a negative space. So do whatever you need to do for your peace of mind and really protect those dreams. I know for myself, I'm going to do everything in my power to do the same. And also, if you're still looking at this picture, I'm using him as my motivation to attack those dreams. One other thing I wanted to add, I really want to thank you Like, truly, truly thank you for listening to every word said on this podcast today, yesterday, and over the years, and for continuing to support me, taking the time out of your day to listen to what I have to say. And in turn, I hope that I've continued to bring some joy, some laughter, entertainment, and really be a good distraction for when you come here. You know, I take a lot of pride in what I do. So believe me when I say your support is appreciated. And this is not going to be a grandstanding moment. I'm not going to declare all my big plans and what I'm going to do for 2022. But I just really wanted to share what I've been going through. And I didn't want to take this into 2022 without sharing. And whoever is going through it or worse, just know that you're not alone. Don't be afraid to speak with others to help relieve in your pain as well. And just know that it gets better. And like I said, truly, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Before I go, I want to give thanks to that initial episode that I had with my guest, Jonathan Boxell, that helped spearhead this one. This short one, I should say. And also I want to thank my friend Wayne, who some of us affectionately call Hammer. That last conversation me and you had in person pushed me to do this. I was thinking about doing this, and the conversation that I had with you kind of pushed me to make this happen. So I thank you for that. I don't want to take up too much of your time. You know, we got a new year to look forward to. Some of you are still on your holiday vacation, and I want you to go ahead and enjoy the rest of it. I'm going to be back next week with a new episode of the Ave Podcast and South Shore Ave Radio, which is available on all platforms. Also starting right now on Spotify. You can now rate the podcast as well. So please click on those 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Continue to rate, review, and subscribe to the shows. And lastly, I want to say to Nigel, to Jason, to Big John, to my Uncle Vincent, to Lydia Paris, and just recently Michael Thompson. None of you will be forgotten. All of my positive energies and prayers go out to your families. My love goes out to Charles and his family. And last but not least, Dexter. Thank you for the blessing and the conversation that we had, man. Anything you need, you don't even have to ask. Just know that. My name is Cal C. And thank you for tuning into the Ave Podcast. Happy New Year. I will see you next week. Love.